What's up, Digidestins? This is Kyle D, better known as RideMyAvatar, and today we are going to be making none other than a best rogue version of Machinedramon. This deck has some nifty tricks, as they would say. Just kidding. This deck has some decent powerhouse behind it with the finally added support that it's gotten in the last couple sets. Make this deck to be really the most powerful rogue contender. And all it needs is just the right amount of, okay, this has happened, and this deck could explode into tier 1 categories. So without further ado, let's break into the video, shall we? Even Black War Greymon at times. It does have really solid matchups into everything else, which is going to be a big thing. First off, we are playing for Digimon. Digimon is basically for our top end. Once we can go into Chaosdramon from a Machinedramon while this card climbed up, instantly putting a source underneath, or using the new BT-11 Machinedramon to put something underneath as well. So as long as we're able to put something underneath, it'll get us a free draw advantage. And I think this card is going to be a big deciding factor because we don't really lose our Digimon very often. So Pogumon's kind of out. But if we build a stack and raising just efficient enough, we can get that free draw advantage, and that can lead to a couple free draws. And I think that's very useful at the end of the day because we want to have some free draw advantage. And that keeps us in the game completely. Then we do play for Higuramon. For Higuramon is strictly for the fact is that on play, trash one card in your hand that is Machine or Cyborg, which this whole deck is about. There's only like 2 cards that are not really Machine Cyborg, Digimon, and we'll talk about that. And what you're going to do is draw 2 cards from its on play after you trash one. Since you're putting everything in trash, you don't mind having that ability to grab them back from the Machinedramon. This will allow you to apply pressure to your opponent in ways they're not ready for because we're trying to speed up and not lose advantage at the same time. So 4 of it's really good. Then we do have 4 Digimon. So Digimon is going to really do some decent headway here. The reason is we're not going to use it for its on play. It's mainly to digivolve in raising, because then when we get it into the same reason why we have the Digimon, we're going to use it for the gain a memory effect when we put something underneath in its source. Since we have the Machinedramon and Chaosdramon doing this for us, we're going to gain some decent advantage out of that. And I think being able to use that to its full extent will actually lead us ahead. So I think 4 of it is good. You could definitely play more blockers, negators, stuff like that in this slot if you don't feel like this is optimal. But I feel like it's very optimal for what it does because, again, it's going to extend your plays, get you into pieces, and apply pressure that way. And then we do have 1 Chumon. Chumon's just to shut down Machinedramon player mirror matches because we know that people are going to bring this deck to Nats. And at least Chumon can slow them down just a little bit. Like I said, if you feel like you need more Chumons to negate more, go for it. But again, this is going to help you for the memory blocking of memory boosts, stuff like that. So if you slow down memory boosters, that can keep you in the game as well because now they can't pop it to extend their plays. And until they get rid of it, that means it's a threat on itself. Next, let's get into the champion lines. We play for Gardramon from EX1. So this card is never going anywhere in my opinion. It is a blocker consistently, but it cannot attack players, which is fine all turns. But also, there is the inheritable we like. By trashing 1 card with Cyborg or Machine in its traits, you get to draw 2 cards. Since we don't mind filtering some pieces away, we'll take some advantage while attacking to extend our reach and try to get to more combo pieces. I think 4 of it is fantastic. Any more would be lovely if we could get another Machinedramon, Gardramon-esque Machinedramon playable card that has a similar effect in its inheritable, just to extend our plays and reach. Next, we do play 2 of Tankdramon. This is just so that if we see it, we can digivolve for 1 in raising. Hopefully dig us a little bit deeper when we need it. But Tankdramon's just a 1 cost evolve, and he isn't going to do too much besides that. But he's also a 6000 DP beater, so we don't mind that. That's going to be very important. Let's get into basically the one-of section that is usually the ultimates. First off, we are playing Memamon. This new Memamon from BT-11. This card really is powerful. What I'm going to say is there's 2 options away in playing it. You can either bring this up from raising. He's not able to go into inheritables. That's fine. We're really not caring about that inheritable at all. We really care about is the fact that he's on play or when digivolving. Reveal the top 5 cards of your deck. You may play 1 tamer among them. No color restriction, by the way. For a play cost 4 or less among them without paying its memory cost, place the remaining cards at the top of the deck or bottom of the deck in any order. So basically you get to choose where that goes. And now if you don't like the cards coming forwards, bring it to the bottom. But if you like the cards coming forwards, you can position it in that top 4 that is remaining as long as you grab the tamer. If not, it's the top 5. I don't like these cards right now. Bottom deck it. Or let me rearrange this so I gain some advantage out of this. So being able to do that is really what brings Memamon importance. Even just hard playing him for 7. If your opponent gave you 3. Oh, wow. Let me just hard play Memamon. Boom. Let's get Analog Man out. Or get a Kazu out. Boom. Now your opponent has to deal with you getting a level 5 on board that costs you maybe just giving them 3 or 4 for the turn. So if they don't have a way of removing it right away, they instantly have to answer this the next turn. Because if you can digivolve up onto, let's say, Machinedramon, boom, now they have to deal with it. And then you have Analog Man already producing some decent value because you got ahead. And it puts them on a clock because now they have to answer this. I think 2 of is a really nice number. It would surprise the opponent in ways that they're not ready for. And I think Memamon is slept on in this deck just because it's not normally able to be put into the sources. But that's fine. We don't mind not having it go into the sources by your effects. But he's there to dig us for our Analog Man or Kazu to get us some decent headway. Then we do have 2 Gigadramon. This card produces jamming on his own swing and reboot the inheritable. Now this lets us Chaos Degradation. So as long as you're not walking into Chaos Degradation galore, you're kind of good. I think Gigadramon at 2 is a really solid number. You could bring it down to 1. It wouldn't hurt you. Then we do have Megadramon. So when digivolving, delete one of your opponent's Digimon or Tamer with a play cost 3 or less. So being able to snipe cool boys really does help out. Then you could easily do the inheritable too when attacking. If this Digimon has Machine or Cyborg, well, Dragonkin in its traits, delete one of your opponent's Digimon or Tamer with a play cost 3 or less. So now we get to set them back with that. Being able to remove Tamers is probably going to be very reliant in this format. So we want to remove those 3-cost Tamers very quickly because they're very powerful Tamers at times. And then we do have 1 Metal Greymon. So when digivolving, de-digivolve one of your opponent's Digimon. And then you basically get to delete 1 Digimon with 3000 DP or less. Okay, but if your Digimon is a Machine or Dragonkin in its traits, this Digimon can swing into your opponent's Digimon, unsuspended Digimon, by the way. Now you get to apply pressure with their stacks if they're not ready for. You can start board controlling that way, and it can lead to some wins like that. And then we do have Metal Mamamon. So when digivolving, you may reveal the top 3 cards of your deck. Add 1 level 6 Digimon with Machine and his traits among them to your hand. Trash the remaining cards. But also, if this Digimon has Machine in his traits, delete one of your opponent's Digimon with a play cost 5 or less. So, allowing us to remove board threats that way is really good. I mean, it gets really interesting with this deck because the way you can play it is different between everybody. So now you want to play a little more DDG Evolution, you could, and then use MachinedRamon to basically remove threats off because now they're smaller, and then boom, now you have ways of dealing with it. Or D-Digivolve, instantly swing into it, making it smaller is another possibility. There are plenty of ways of going about it that can lead you some victories that way. This deck is very technical. It's not a very easy pilot. You have to make right calls, trashing right cards, but once you get it down pat, you can very much take leads in ways your opponent's not ready for. Next card, though, we're going to talk about is Androidmon. Androidmon is basically reveal the top 3 cards of your deck, add 1 level 6 Digimon with Machine and its traits among them to your hand, trash the remaining cards. Both Metal Mama, Android, and Metal Tyranno have this effect. So when it's Digivolving, it's going to do it. But this one gives a nice blocker inheritable to your machine. So we like our Machinedramon to have it. And then finally, we do have Metal Tyrannomon for that reboot. It has the same effect as Mamamon and Androidmon, so we're not going to really just go into it. But being able to give reboot as an inheritable to your Machinedramons really is going to apply pressure. Next, we do have that EX1 Metal Greymon. So Metal Greymon, when attacking, gets to delete. Attacks a player, delete one of your opponent's Digimon with 4,000 DP or less. So being able to remove small guys is really important. But it gives your machine or Dragonkins the ability to pierce through. So being able to pierce through is going to help you a lot. And I think we want to have the ability to pierce through more often than not. And then we do have Machinedramon. So on play, delete up to 2 of your opponent's Digimon with 3,000 DP or less. So if you had to hard play it, if they have 2 rookies out, boom, now they're gone. But it also gives your machine, or in his traits, security +1. This is where you get the threat and lethal from, especially if you combo in when jamming. Then you get 2 security checks very easily your opponent has to deal with. Then we do have Metal Greymon. The reason why we're playing this is a little spicy. There's 2 reasons for it. First off, when attacking, plus 3,000 DP for the inheritable. But if you're facing against any Venusmon shenanigans, you can swing into their security stack, no issues. What do I mean by that? Well, it'll check for 3 if they are nothing really too scary in there. You'll gain so much advantage out of it because if Venusmon's live, since you have the extra security check, that when attacking effect, gonzo. So now you don't lose a bunch of memory to pass turn. You get some added decent play that way. But it's mostly in here for that 3,000 DP to help you climb over boss Digimon that are on board. And being able to climb over them really does some damage. And then we do have Metal Tyrannomon. So on play, for each green or black tamer you have in play, suspend one of your opponent's Digimon. Then one of your opponent's suspended Digimon cannot unsuspend during your opponent's next unsuspend phase, locking them down. And so now they don't get some decent nasty inheritables. So that's really good there. But also, when this Digimon deletes an opponent's Digimon in battle, trash the top card of their security stack. Now you get to remove security for free. This helps in the SetCon matchup a little bit because free removal is better than you swinging in and dealing with it that way. So, very important. I think Metal Tyrannomon is here to stay. And then we do have Machinedramon for a blocker inheritable. I think being able to have blocker really is going to matter. And then we have Gigadramon. That's going to be all your turn. This Digimon is treated as a red Digimon. We don't really care about that. Opponent's turn, this Digimon gets plus 2,000 DP. So now it makes it harder for them to swing into your Digimon because it's a little boosted. And trade-off wise, you can deal with a lot more threats that way. Then we do have Metal Greymon from BT-11. So on play, if you have a tamer out, reduce the gain 2 memory. So this comes in for 5. So this can lead to being some decent value there. But also, opponent's turn, when one of your opponent's Digimon is deleted, gain a memory. That's all it's really in here for. You could be playing this if you play hero, and then you get a free hero out of the deal, but I don't think playing more than one hero is really beneficial for this deck. But I think Metal Greymon has a place in this deck. And then finally, we do have Cyberdramon. All turns, while you have a suspended tamer in play, this Digimon gets plus 2000 DP. So now combo it with this, making all our lovely 11Ks, 15Ks, or our lovely 12K into a bigger monstrosity, and that is now 16. Makes it harder for them to swing in, and since we can redirect attacks wherever we please, we can make it very hard for our opponents to deal with. So, very important. Then we do have 4 Chaosdramon. So, this Digimon can Digivolve on top of your Machinedramon for 1 cost. Also, on play when Digivolving, you may place up to 3 red or black level 5 cards with Cyborg and its traits with different numbers from your hand or trash under this Digimon. And at its bottom Digi-Evolution, de-Digivolve one of your opponent's Digimon for each card that was placed all turns. When this Digimon would be deleted, return to hand or deck, you may trash 2 level 5 Digimon from this Digi-Evolutions to prevent it leaving play. So this is the reason why we now have protection from bounce, and we have protection from being spun back to deck. That is huge. We didn't want to be bounced back to hand because that would set us back too much, but it also, now we don't have to worry too much on our opponent applying too much pressure. I think Chaosdramon is really good at 4. And then we do play 3 Machinedramon. So this card here is on play. You may place up to 5 red or black Digimon cards with Cyborg in their traits with different numbers, similar to Chaosdramon. And when you do, you gain 1 memory for each card placed. So if you put 5, this instantly gains you 5 memory back. If they have Chumon out, you're kind of screwed a bit, but that's fine. We don't mind that too much. But also, all turns, this Digimon cannot have his DP reduced. So, yellow decks, eat your heart out. This card just laughs at you for trying to do so. But also, the fact is, when this Digimon would be deleted, you may trash up to 2 level 5s from its sources to prevent it from leaving play. So, the only thing we don't really have protection from is being Chaos Degradation. Or, in the fact is, when we get a Restodramon, that is going to be a problem. But outside of that, we have decent protection across the board. And I think that's going to help us out. And then we do play 2 Machinedramon from BT-11. So this card is on play when Digivolving. Reveal the top 5 cards of your deck. Add 1 analog man among them to your hand. Add 1 card with Machinedramon or Machine or Cyborg and its traits among them to your hand. Place the remaining cards at the bottom of the deck in any order, and then place 1 to the bottom. Place it either in your hand or bottom of the deck, and then trash the rest. So we get to free mill out our deck, but on deletion, return 1 of your analog mans to the bottom of your deck. Then you may play 1 Machinedramon from your hand without paying its memory cost. So then you get a free Machinedramon, and that lets you get some revalue because now it's a free Machinedramon. You get to play this, gain some memory on that because it's an on-play, gain the memory. And now your opponent is kind of screwed because you traded with this very easily. And that's going to set you ahead. And then we do have 4 Analog Man. So Analog Man is basically in here for start a main phase by taking 1 level 5 Cyborg in its traits from your hand, gain 1 memory, and draw a card. But by trashing it, so that gains you some value. But your opponent's turn, when your opponent's Digimon attacks the player by suspending this tamer, you may switch the target of that attack to 1 of your level 6 Digimon with machines in its trait. So, since it keeps its traits, no matter what, you can shut them down that way. And then we have Kazu in here, just because as long as you have a Cyborg or Machine in play, gain a memory, this extends our plays. It's comboed nicely with our Analog Man. Then we get to one of your opponents, when one of your Digimon with Cyborg in its name, Cyborg or Machine in its traits attacks by drawing a card, you may trash 1 card. So this helps you dig a little deeper and get you some decent card advantage. And then finally, one of our biggest MVP options is Attack of the Heavy Mobile Machines. So this deck really relies on this. Trash one card with Cyborg or Machine in its traits from your hand to have all your level 6 with Machine in its traits gain Rush. So this is going to help you out. But also, on play, if this Digimon has any Digi-Evolutions, instantly blitz in. So now you can sneak in and apply pressure that way, but also when it's hitting security, it's a nice removal effect. By trashing a Cyborg or a Machine, you get to delete an opponent's Digimon whose play cost is less than or equal to the trash card's play cost, now allowing you to remove threats off the board that way. And I think that's just going to really push you ahead. So guys, what did you think of this deck profile? Anything you would change in it? Or did I hit the right amount of sauce with it? Guys, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, stay safe, stay healthy, and I'll catch you in the next video. Peace!